Hello, MMA fans, and welcome to Part 8 of the 2023-24 Prospect Series. It's the second time today I tried to make this video this morning. I made a 2-hour video and then the audio was messed up, so forgive me if my voice is a little bad, and hopefully the audio will work this time, but having some issues today. For those of you that are new to my channel and series, today we're going to talk about a number of prospects, one of the biggest videos, if not the biggest we've ever done. There's no ranking, so it doesn't matter if you're mentioned first or last. We're just talking about a large group of fighters. We looked at 2,000 or 3,000. We got it narrowed down to 151, which is unprecedented for the channel. Some have superstar potential. Some have, being signed to a big promotion potential, and some are borderline being signed / a shoutout. Also, this will kind of be one of the last videos of its kind. Definitely going to look into, now that I'm back into YouTube after a long break, a few years back when I was away for, the better part of a decade. Looking to grow the channel, looking to do, we're going to continue the Prospect Series for sure, but we're going to cut it down like we used to do 15 years ago, 5 to 10 fighters video. That way we can pump out more videos each year and go into more depth in each fighter. So I have a new series I'm going to be starting, which I'm excited about, and then also a bunch of other MMA content. So really looking forward to that. And having said that, one thing I would ask, if you're watching the video, and you like the content, I'm going to ask you to hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Basically what it does, it, helps the channel grow, but it also helps more exposure for the fighters, for sure. We're spreading this around. And it also tells me that you want me to continue. So, carrying on, look at the rules for the video today. So typically we don't usually mention fighters above 30 and even 30, but today there's probably a dozen or so cases where we're going to mention the folks. No UFC experience, no tough or contender experience, road UFC, etc. All that kind of good stuff. No Bellator, there's one caveat we'll talk about today. No PFL, no ONE FC, and no Rizin. The stats for today's video. An unprecedented 151 fighters representing 49 countries with an average age of 25. A combined record of 1,086 wins, 57 losses, and a 78% finish rate, which is super high. And then one final thing before we start. With the lightweight division, you get a lot of fighters moving, they're switching divisions to going to 145, 170. Some even make it down to 135. So there's probably 20 or 30, big name prospects you're not going to see in today's video because they were covered in one of the other videos in the series, whether it be featherweight, welterweight, or even bantamweight. So some of those key names, if you're wondering, Husein Kadimagomaev, he was covered in the featherweight, of course, a star in Octagon MMA right now. Salamat Isbulaev, he was covered in the featherweight. Paul Hughes, featherweight. Karen Amazian, featherweight. Yadier Ayvazyan was covered in the featherweight. Marcel Nurbeck, the featherweight. Jordan Vucenic, the featherweight. Taehyung Kim, another beast. He was covered at the featherweight. Andrei Goncharev at ACA was covered at the featherweight. Ramazan Gitanov was covered in the welterweight. Axel Sola was covered in the welterweight. Ion Harris, the welterweight. Azaf Chaparov, who's another beast, an up-and-comer, is covered in the bantamweight. Magomedov was covered in the welterweight. And there's a bunch more. So that's just some of the key names you might be wondering as you watch why they're not in today's video. Without further ado, folks, let's get started. Again, it's going to be a long one. Some fighters, they may get a minute or so of coverage. Some only might get 10 seconds. It's just going to depend on a timing thing. So starting off, Amru Magomedov, 25, 5'11", 185, fighting out of Russia. 5'11", 185. 8-0 with 1 knockout, 5 submissions, 75% finish rate. The UAE lightweight champion, another excellent fighter from Dagestan. Magomedov is a dangerous fighter. Very talented grappler, wrestler, and definitely a submission threat. Continue controlling opponents and using ground and pound to set up submissions. Looks fairly comfortable on his feet. Throws a decent low kick. Switches stances and looks good from the clinch with knees and control. Definitely a prospect to watch out for, and he's in that Khabib Nurmagomedov kind of group of guys. So I definitely think we'll see this guy soon. Most definitely UFC, PFL, or ONE FC for sure. Definitely got to watch out for. Next up, and this is a guy that nobody really talks about, and it's funny. He was supposed to fight last week or a few days ago on the ACA card, and he was kicking the night off, not on the main card, but on the preliminary card, which is kind of hard to understand. But Khalid Satuev, 30 years old, 5'10", 155 out of Russia, 13-0, 6 knockouts, 4 submissions, 77% finish rate. I think Sherdog has him at 11-0, but Topallaj 13-0. Sticking with the Russians, we have yet another monster to talk about. Very well rounded, light on his feet, throws an array of strikes with both his hands and his kicks. But wrestling, of course, is a strong point, smothering opponents with control, ground and pound submissions. Definite threat to finish fights via ground and pound and submission. At age 30, the time is now. So hopefully he's entering his prime, so hopefully he gets picked up by someone. I'm not sure if he's under a long-term deal with ACA, but I'd like to see him get picked up. Moving right along, Richie Lewis, 30 years old, 5'9", 155, fighting out of USA. 6-0, 2 knockouts, 33% finish rate, LFA lightweight champion. Big wrestling background, 2-time NCAA qualifier, a 2-time All-American. Anytime you have an up-and-coming fighter with a high-level wrestling background, he or she will always get a closer look. Lewis uses his wrestling to dominate, control opponents, setting up a mix of ground and pound to TKO. Hoping to see him add some more submission threats to his game, but potentially a big fight with LFA interim lightweight lightweight interim champion Jefferson Nascimento. That's the fighter we're going to talk about here shortly. And as mentioned, Richie Lewis is the current LFA lightweight champ. And again, now in the LFA, which is going to be a theme for a lot of fighters today, it's really a gateway to the UFC. So potentially we could see a whole lot more of him, and potentially we could see him in the UFC card in the not so distant future. Next up, Cristian Pérez, fighting out of Mexico. 24 years old, 5'9", 155, 13 wins, 1 loss, 4 knockouts, 6 submissions, 77% finish rate. Another great prospect, this time out of Mexico. As mentioned, Perez is a well-rounded, young, great fighter who had beat some quality opposition. He has a decent stand-up and with power, mixes in the low kick, and above all else, has speed and fights at a high pace. Also, a good grappler and is a submission threat. Perez is fun to watch, and most definitely I see this guy getting picked up likely with UFC, whether that be on the Contender Series or directly to the show. The next guy we're going to talk about, excuse me, as mentioned earlier, Jefferson Nascimento, 25, 5'7", 155 out of Brazil, 11-0, 4 knockouts, 3 submissions, 64% finish rate. LFA interim lightweight champion, another great prospect from Brazil with great record and has beat some great opponents. Well-rounded, decent movement on the feet, shows power and the ability to finish fights with his hands, ground and pound, of course, submissions, and showed he can go the distance. You know, either a matchup with current LFA lightweight champ Richie Lewis is on the horizon, or a call to the UFC. Next up, Juan Pablo Vieira, 20 years old, 5'11", 155, 7-0, 5 knockouts, 2 submissions. At just 20 years old, Juan looks outstanding. Fights very aggressive, with high-level grappling, smothering opponents. He also shows power as per his 5 KO victories. He's already fought and won twice in the LFA, which again is a feeder system of the UFC. Both are wins over decent opponents. Manuel Morates is a dangerous kickboxer beat, and Marcel Bruno is a 6-2. So 2 great wins, an exciting young prospect. Looking forward to seeing more of this guy. Next up, again, and this guy isn't so much a prospect. He's more of a veteran now. I've been a fan of his for a while. We talked about him back in the 2020 series. Yusuf Raisov, 29 years old, 5'8", 155, 21-3, 3 knockouts, 9 submissions, 57% finish rate out of Russia. Again, we talked about him in 2020. He's been tied to the ACA promotion for most of his career. But I wanted to give him a shout out. He's a tough, durable beast who has fought some very, very tough guys. And like I said, primarily fought in the ACA. He was at 145 and now 155. I'm not going to say he's definitely not the best, the best lightweight in the ACA, but that division is so stacked over there. So I wanted to give him a shout out. He's well-rounded. Don't let the low finish rate percent fool you. Be fun to see him in another promotion, the Bellator, PFL, you name it, UFC, whatever. But I could see this guy being locked up in Russia for a while. I believe he was part of the military, but he's fought most of his career in ACA, so A shout out to Yusuf. Next up, Kurban Idrisov, 27-155 at a Bahrain, 5-0, 2 knockouts, 3 submission, 100% finish rate. Amateur accolades: IMMAF 2021 lightweight world champ, 2022 Super Cup gold, an amateur record of 14-2. Yet another KHK team member, high-level prospect under coach Eldar Eldarov. Idrisov had mentioned another great dominant amateur career. That's a big difference between, European and North America, although the North Americans, specifically the Americans, are starting to get a lot more amateur fights, but we're seeing some amateurs that are coming out of Europe with, 30 amateur fights at very high levels, so it puts them in the driver's seat when they turn pro. This guy's well-rounded. Great ground game, wrestling, and, finishes fights by KO or sub. Another great prospect to keep an eye on. Next up, Marcelo Marques, 27-5-7-155 out of Brazil, 10-0 in knockout, 5 submissions, 60% finish rate. Another beauty of a prospect out of Brazil. Marcelo is off to a great start in his career. He's a legitimate sub-threat and also won fights by KO. He has beat some quality opposition, including 9-3 Augusto Mateas and 18-8 Ronaldo Exon. Also has 2 nice wins in the LFA, as mentioned, feeder system to the UFC. You can definitely see him getting a call to the Contender Series or the UFC. Looking forward to seeing more of Marcelo. Next up, Ramil Kamilov. Fighting out of Canada, I believe, via Kazakhstan, 26-5-11-155, 8-0, 4 knockouts, 2 submissions, 75% finish rate. Kamil is a promising up-and-comer, has climbed the ranks in Canadian MMA. Kamil beat some quality opposition, including a win over the very tough 13-3 Tom O'Connor. Ramil is well-rounded and can win fights via stand-up, ground and pound, decision. He uses his wrestling to set up submissions. Overall pretty solid. Still a chance he gets the call from Contender Series this year, although the cards are really starting to fill up. So potentially right up to the UFC, but we'll see what the future holds for Kamil. Next up, Nikita Kushin, 24-5-9-155 out of Russia, 6-0, 1 knockout, 1 submissions, 9-0 as an amateur, 2019 IMMAF Junior World Lightweight Gold. Outstanding record to date. Another great Russian prospect now fighting in the LFA, and 3 straight wins in that organization get you pretty close. Of course, if you get the low finish rate, typically can hurt someone from getting the call, but I think it was his first fight in the LFA at a highlight reel knockout. So definitely looks like he's improving in the finishing part. He, of course, wrestling is his bread and butter, but with that KO, I'd see him getting a little bit of exposure. So one to watch out for. Moving right along. Kurban Idrisov, 35-10-155 out of Kazakhstan. And again, Kazakhstan is just pumping out tons of prospects. Some great fighters coming out of that part of the world. 21-3 with 1 no contest, 12 knockouts, 4 submissions, 76% finish rate. The Brave CF lightweight champ. The list of great fighters from that part of the world continues to grow. As we've seen the alumni of this series, make it to the UFC and such. And of course, at the age of 30, right now, the time is now. He's entering his prime, so hopefully if it's going to happen for him, it's going to happen soon. He's an experienced fight finishing beast that uses his wrestling to set up to control opponents, set up ground and pound and submissions. And like I said, at 30, the time is really now for him. Moving right along, Sikwon Park, 22-5-10-155 out of South Korea. 6-0, 4 knockouts, 67% finish rate. 3-0 under modified MMA rules. I'm not sure if that was amateur fights or not, but Road FC lightweight champion. Exciting, young, fan-pleasing fighter from South Korea. This guy's fight finishing power and throws an array of punches from the southpaw position, as well as great kicking game. During his amateur career, he also showed that he can also win by submission. Definitely an exciting prospect, exciting fighter to watch, and he'd be a good ad for any promotion. Next up, heading over to the USA, Tyler Grimsley, 27-5-11-155, 8-0, 4 knockouts, 3 submissions, 75% finish rate, Total Warrior Combat Amateur Champion, and 5-0 as an amateur. Another well-rounded lightweight prospect with good size at 5'11". A wrestler, again, with a decent, well-rounded skill set. A big part of course, of why he's combined 13-0, pro and amateur. Versatile, he can win fights via TKO, submission, hence the high finish rate. I expect Tyler to get a shot at some point. I'm surprised. I figured this guy would have got a call this year for a Contender Series, and hopefully that'll happen soon for Moving right along. Next up, Amru Magomedov out of Russia, 25, 5'11", 155. 12 wins, 1 loss, 3 knockouts, 4 submissions, 58% finish rate. Another young, talented, well-rounded prospect from Russia. Albert is aggressive. He has, of course, good wrestling. He uses a set of submissions and heavy ground and pound. He beat a couple of good opponents, is now fighting in the ACA, where he's definitely going to get good competition. Just another example of a good Russian prospect. Moving on, number 16, Adam Masayev, 24, 6'1", 155 out of Turkey, 10-0, 2 knockouts, 7 submissions for a 90% finish rate. This guy's legit. A fight finishing prospect from Turkey, 7 first-round finishes, big-time sub-threat, very versatile, subbing opponents in many different ways, and is very good off his back. He's very loose and athletic on his feet to complement his all-around game. And, again, a very well-rounded prospect. Yet another in the ACA, so he's about to get some good matchups in the ACA promotion. Next up, George Steins, 23, 6'1", 155 out of England, 2-0, 1 submission, 50% finish rate. Lots of amateur accolades. 2022 IMMAF Silver World Championships, won a silver, and 2022 in the Euro Championships, won gold. I got him at 16-1 as an amateur. Another exciting prospect out of England. Feels like they've been pumping a lot out. Just 2-0, George has a wealth of experience. Steins is very well-rounded and very long and lanky for lightweight. Aggressive grappling, heavy top game control, and can throw hands too. So definitely an entertaining prospect and one to watch out for. Looking forward to his next fight. Next up, Salamat Isbulaev, 27, 5'7", 155 out of Kazakhstan, 5-0, 2 knockouts, 3 submissions, 100% finish rate, 29-3 as an amateur. Just a great amateur career. IMMAF 2019 Euro Champ Lightweight Gold, 2021 World Lightweight Silver, Russian MMA Champions 2021, and Abduali Nurmagomedov 2020 Championship. This guy's a beast. Is a trail of prospects that seem to be coming out of Kazakhstan. Just a wealth of amateur experience, well-rounded, athletic, with strong wrestling and dangerous stand-up. Check out his spinning back kick KO on YouTube. And actually, a number of his fights are on YouTube, I believe. But looking forward to seeing more of this guy. Hopefully, he gets some exposure. Next up, a shout out to Delyan Georgiev, 30 years old, so getting up there, 5'9", 145/155 out of Bulgaria, 4-0 and knockout 1 submission, 57% rate. IMMAF 2017 Euro Championship Gold. I think he won that with a broken thumb or hand or something. 2017 World Championship Gold, 2018 World Championship Gold, 2019 Euro Championship Bronze. I wanted to give this guy a quick shout out. You know, with such an accomplished amateur career. Be good to see him get some exposure. Just 4-0 as a pro. I think 2 of his fights were under unknown results, so he could be 6-0. I'm not sure, but seems okay. There's a highlight KO of him on YouTube to check out. Definitely, hopefully, gets a shot. Next up, Aleksandr Vertko, 28, 5'11", 155. I get Germany via Russia, 12-1, 4 knockouts, 2 submissions, 50% finish rate. NFC lightweight champ, fair FC lightweight champ. He's been active for 2 years, so typically we don't talk about folks that have been active for over a year, but there's about 3 or 4 on today's list I want to talk about. And we talked about Vertko back in the 2020 series. He's an entertaining fighter, probably gets into too many brawls, but he's fun to watch. He finishes fights. And I guess for anybody watching today's video, if you know anything on Aleksandr, what his status is, please feel free to comment in the comment section below. That'd be awesome. Next up, Gage Young. USA, 23, 5'9", 155, 8-1, 5 knockouts, 1 submission, 75% finish rate, 7-1 as an amateur. Now, I haven't confirmed this for sure, but I heard rumor that Gage was picked up, or is going to be picked up to fight in a contender series in the not-so-distant future later on in the next month or so. And if that's the case, that's awesome. But I believe he's fought at 170 before, at least at a catch weight for sure. He's young, strong, and athletic, well-rounded from what I can see. And looks like he has a pretty high fight IQ, aggressive on the feet, throws some nice leg kicks with power, and also shows some good ground and pound. I haven't seen a ton of his wrestling ability, so I can't really speak on that part, but definitely looking forward to see him. And if, in fact, he is in a contender series, that's awesome. Congrats to Gage. Next up, Kody Steele, USA, 29, 5'9", 155/170, 6-0, 3 knockouts, 1 submission, 67% finish rate. BJJ black belt, massive amount of jiu-jitsu and grappling experience and achievements, way too many to list. A caveat, I believe potentially he may be scheduled or looking at getting picked up or being picked up to fight on a future contender series in a not so distant future, perhaps in the next month or so. That's rumored now. I haven't confirmed if it's true or not, but very entertaining fighter. And again, he's grappled and competed against some of the best in the world in many different grappling competitions. He's a huge threat on the mat, obviously, with some issues with his background. I think he also wrestled in high school, a minimum high school wrestling. He's very striking heavy, though, very aggressive style, big power, and he's entertaining to watch, fan-pleasing. So I think Kody's the kind of guy that, potentially there's some star power here. I'm not sure how far he's going to go, but if he looks good, if he is, in fact, fighting in a contender series, it's a great way for Dana White and his crew to get a look at him. So hopefully we'll see more of him soon. Next up, Harry Webb out of Australia, 24, 5'10", 155. 5-0, 3 knockouts, 1 submission, 80% finish rate, the Hex champ. 7-0 as an amateur, Demo Fight Series amateur champ. Actually, he just fought and won by a split decision. I got him at 7-0 as an amateur, but there was another guy we're going to include in the list, and his name was Kevin Cophamel. And him and Harry just fought, and Harry won by a split decision, so he took Kevin off the list, but he's a beast, so that was a huge win for him. And Harry is very talented and very entertaining. He fights at a high pace, very well rounded. This guy finishes fights, good wrestling, grappling, heavy ground and pound, and has power on his feet. He's beat some good opponents, including a big KO against 9-1 Abdallah Bijana, which is on YouTube. You can check it out. I think there's a couple of his fights on YouTube, but most definitely, they're always looking for, UFC is always looking for prospects out of Australia. And now the PFL looking to start PFL Australia next year. Definitely see this guy getting picked up, 100%. Next up, heading to Japan. This guy's a monster. Yuji Ifogena, 24, 6 feet, 155. Again, out of Japan, 8-0, 5 knockouts, 1 submission, 75% finish rate. 2-0 as an amateur. He's a big 155er. Big, strong, powerful, dangerous prospect out of Japan. Very athletic, southpaw, with heavy ground and pound, big left straight, some dangerous leg kicks. He appears to have wrestling as well. He's trained with the great Henry Huff, so one of the best striking coaches in the game. So it makes sense that he's looking so good on his feet. But check this guy out; you'll be entertained for sure. Big, strong, powerful, with some nice KOs. Number 25, Husein Kadimagomaev, out of Switzerland via Czechia, I believe, Czechia or Dagestan. 24, 5'10", 155, 11 wins, 1 loss, 1 no contest, 6 knockouts, 4 submissions, 90% finish rate. 12-0 as an amateur, many titles including winning the 1 night, 4 wins in 1 night European Amateur Championship Shudo. Another great prospect with an in-depth wrestling background. This guy finishes fights. He has a number of fights under Brave CF. Relies heavily on ground and pound and wrestling. He's definitely a submission threat. Got one tough loss to our Prospect Series alumni, 145er Tai Kyung Kim, back in 2021. And I believe he's now being managed by Ali Abduali. So if that's the case, Ali only takes on, typically high-profile clients. So I see him getting a fight in a major promotion soon. Next up, out of Cuba, Yadier DelValle, 27-5-9, 7-0, 2 knockouts, 2 submissions. 57% finish rate, 4-0 as an amateur. Majority of the fights under the Fury FC. Also fought in Combate Global. He's beat some quality opponents, including 9-1 Prospect alumni Mike as well. Physically strong, athletic, and finishes fights. Very good grappling, and definitely a submission threat. Seen a couple of his fights where he showed some pretty good skills off his back, and decent stand-up. So really looking forward to seeing more Yadler. I think he'd probably another fight or two, but anytime you see a fighter in Cuba, typically their wrestling's pretty good, and usually, they get picked up. Next up, Romario Orozco out of Mexico, 30 years old, 5'10", 155/179, and 3 knockouts, 33% finish rate. A quick shout out to Mexico's Romario Orozco at 30. I thought it would be cool to give him a shout out. He's a brawler, finds ways to win fights. He's fought mostly out of Mexico for his whole career in the regional scene. Hasn't really fought high-level competition, but you know what? Thought it'd be cool to give him a shout-out, maybe get him some exposure. Next up, Zhora Ayvazyan out of Armenia, 29, 5'6", 155, 14-1, 8 knockouts, 1 submission, 64% finish rate. Another quick shout-out, Zhora is someone we talked about in the 2020 series, now 14-1, entering his prime. It's a great time for him to get picked up. Very physically strong, good wrestling, ground and pound. He's fought some, beat some very, very tough opponents, and it's rumored that he's been offered a contract by Bellator, but we'll see. Next up, number 29, Akhmad Dakaev. This is another fighter I want to give a quick shout out to. 25 years old, 5'10", 155 out of Ukraine, 12-0, 7 knockouts, 5 submissions, 100% finish rate. A real quick shout out to Akhmad. Typically, if you've been inactive for over a year, we don't include you, but it's been a couple years for him. 12 fights in basically 2.5 years with 9 first-round finishes and 100% finish rate. I talked to Akhmad a couple of years back, but haven't heard back from him since. So I'm not sure if anybody knows his status, if he's still competing or plans to competing. Please comment in the section below. Number 30, we have Vasily Takte out of Kazakhstan, 155, 9-0, 35 knockouts, 3 submissions, 89% finish rate. Again, inactive for 3 years. And I think this is maybe the last or second last person that's been active. But I was thinking someone on today's video, again, if you have any information on Vasily, please feel free to comment in the section below, but wanted to give him a shout out. Hopes that we find something out. Next up, Ali Suleimanov out of Russia, 23, 5'11", 155, 11-1, 5 knockouts, 5 submissions, 91% finish rate. Another beast out of Russia. Suleimanov has spent the bulk of his career fighting ACA. Very well rounded. Definitely a submission and KO threat. Very athletic and fights at a high pace. Ferocious ground and pound, and of course, wrestling is good, comfortable on his feet, and it shows some really good clinch work. Legit prospect. Moving right along, Mansur Dadaev, 23, 5'11", 155 out of Russia, 7-0, 3 knockouts, 43% finish rate. A quick shout out to another solid prospect from Russia. Mansur beats some good quality, experienced opponents. It's a crazy sport. I think when he was 3-0, he fought an opponent with over 40 fights. Good wrestling to control opponents and set up the ground and pound, throws a nice low kick. Seems to be athletic, and I wanted to give him a shout out. Next on the list, Arijan Topallaj out of Albania/Germany. 25, 6 feet, 155, 7-0, 1 draw, 5 knockouts, 2 submissions, 100% finish rate. All 7 wins have been first round finishes. Octagon MMA continues to bolster their lightweight division as they have a number of legit fighters. And you can add Topallaj to that list. Very comfortable on his feet, throws a nice array of kicks and punches, and good knees from the clinch. It also shows some good grappling, and he's legit with a submission threat because he's got a couple of wins via submission, a couple of nice submissions too. And of course, power, ground and pound, and all that kind of good stuff. So check out some of his fights here on YouTube. You'll really like what you see. Next up, Mark Cholsky, USA, 28, 5'8", 155, 5-0, 1 knockout, 3 submissions, 80% finish rate, 3-time All-American, wrestled at the University of Wisconsin. Now training on the Rufus Fight Sport, I believe. Like many others in today's list, if you kind of a dominant wrestler who overwhelms opponents, has opportunities, usually you get a bit of exposure. This guy also finishes fights with 4 first-round stoppages, very athletic overall. Now fighting in the LFA's background and being on the Rufus Sport, I see this guy getting some exposure and maybe getting a call fairly soon. Moving right along, where are we at here? 35, Mansher Khera. Again, 32 over 30, but wanted to give him a very quick shout out. 5'11", 155 out of USA, 8-0, 1 knockout, 6 submissions, 88% finish rate, 5 first-round finishes. He's got a big grappling and jiu-jitsu background. Premier Fight League MMA champion, countless grappling victories, ADCC, Polaris, IBJJF, tons of experience. He's stand-up, of course, and his all-around MMA game is what needs growth. But it seems like he's diving into it first. He's been very successful. I think he's also dabbling in bare knuckle. So hopefully he can get another big win or two, and at age 35, get a shot somewhere. Moving right along, going back to Octagon MMA. Another prospect I'm excited to talk about, Shem Rock. This guy's a beast, folks. 30 years old, 6 feet, 155 out of England. 11 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw. Another big part of his game with the 2 knockouts, 9 submissions for 100% finish rate. At one point, he had the FCC lightweight champion, the CON lightweight champ, and the Clan Wars featherweight champ. Another great fighter currently fighting in Octagon and MMA. That promotion continues to grow, being one of the biggest, if not the biggest promotion in Europe with huge crowds. And you know what? Their lightweight division is just growing and is full of killers. And Shem Rock is a dangerous fighting lightweight. with numerous first-round finishes and a very savvy submission artist with a sneaky good rear naked choke. Very outspoken, confident, and crowd-pleasing fighter. There's some really good videos on YouTube. We want to check out some of his fights for sure. I'm not sure if Shem is going to be locked into a long-term deal with Octagon MMA, but for sure would love to see him get a shot in the UFC someday. Like I said, he's got sneaky good submissions and he can catch anybody if you're not paying attention. So definitely a great prospect, one to watch out for. Hopefully we see him back in action soon. Check him out, Shem Rock. Next on the list, Eduardo Vázquez, 26, 5'11", 155 out of Mexico, 7-0 knockout, 7-0 no contest, 3 knockouts, 2 submissions, 71% finish rate. Eduardo has fought a pro career so far in the regional Mexico scene. Hasn't fought high-level experience, but he's got 4 first-round stoppages. Looks pretty decent, so I wanted to give him a shout-out. So check him out, Eduardo Vázquez. Cruising right along, Magomed Kadimagomedov, 27, 5'10", 155. Belgium/Russia, 7-0, 5 knockouts, 1 submission, 5 knockouts. 5 knockouts, 1 submission for an 86% finish rate. Hexagon MMA lightweight champ. A well-rounded, big, strong lightweight with solid wrestling, speed, athleticism, and power. Pretty good hands and throws decent leg kicks as well. Footage will show heavy ground and pound. Overall, a pretty solid prospect. Good size for the division. I'm pretty sure we'll see more of this guy. Number 39, Marko Bojković, 22, 5'11", 155 to Serbia, 7-0, 3 knockouts, 3 submissions, 86% finish rate. This guy's a beast. Heavy ground and pound and aggression. On the ground with high punishing pace and overwhelming opponents. Does have power and agility as per his flying KO knee. Haven't seen like an absolute ton of footage of a stand-up, but to me, like, looks pretty good. Wrestling, grappling is his bread and butter. But you know what? Great record, great start to his career. And, if he keeps this up, hopefully we get to see him in a big promotion soon. Next up, Richard Martin, 5'10", 155 out of Brazil. 8-1, 6 knockouts, 1 submission, 88% finish rate. Richard bounced back from an early defeat in his career to Bellator PFL veteran beast Manoa Souza. He's got 4 first-round finishes, and now with his last 3 wins in LFA, he is close to potential Contender Series, PFL, Bellator, or UFC contract. His last 3 wins have been over quality opponents with solid records. I've also seen him do some kickboxing, so pretty well-rounded and definitely a prospect to watch out for. I'm not sure if he's going to move back down to 155 or go up to 170, but definitely a good fighter. Next on the list, another great prospect, Teddy Stringer, 23, 5'11", 155/170 out of England, 4-0, knockout, 3 submissions, 100% finish rate. Another great prospect out of the UK. Feels like they continue to pump them out left and right. Stringer has approximately 25 amateur fights, including competing in 3 IMMAF events and winning the AFC and UKFC amateur titles. Entertaining prospect to watch, relies heavily on his great grappling submission skills. He's definitely a fight finisher. Comfortable on his feet, but perhaps maybe that's an area to work on, but I haven't seen a ton of it. For a 4-0 fighter, he has a wealth of experience. I'm looking forward to seeing more of Mr. Teddy Stringer. Moving on, Magamedrasul Magamedov, 28, 5'9", 145, 155 out of Russia, 10-0, 5 knockouts, 1 submission, 60% finish rate. Now fighting a hardcore MMA organization, likely Magomedov. He's been on a great run in his career thus far. For the fights I've seen, he has great wrestling, big takedowns. He's aggressive, good grappling, strong and athletic. Haven't seen much of a stand-up, and for the most part, he hasn't fought high-level opposition, but definitely got to watch out for. Next up, out of USA, Abe Alsaghir, 23, 5'9", 155 again, USA, 5-0, 2 knockouts, 2 submissions, 80% finish rate, 6-0 as an amateur, lights out amateur champ, Warrior Extreme, cage fighting amateur champ, and lights out professional champ. I've seen a couple of Abe's fights, and you can tell that his amateur experience have done him well on his journey. Looks to have good grappling, good wrestling, cage control, and cage awareness. Decent submission and ground and pound as well. Haven't seen much of a stand-up, so really can't comment on that. But good luck to Abe so far and his great start to his journey. 44, Sayat Abduali, 20 years old, 6'1", 155, in Kazakhstan. 6-0, 2 knockouts, 4 submissions, 100% finish rate, 5 first-round finishes. Kazakhstan is full of legit fighters. Seems like they just pumping them out every day. This kid has talent. The first fight I seen him pull off a pull guard in a flying fashion to get a triangle submission win. So very talented. He's massive for 155, very athletic, flying knees, clinch work, dirty boxing, you name it, and dangerous off his back. 45, Doston Bozorov, 25 years old, 5'10", 155 out of Uzbekistan, 10-1, 4 knockouts, 2 submissions, 60% finish rate, Octagon League lightweight champ. Appears to be well-rounded and can finish fights by both TKO and submission for sure. I've seen some heavy ground and pound from him as well. Also seems to be comfortable on his feet and moves well and throws some hard low kicks. Also seen him deliver a massive head kick KO, which you can check out here on YouTube. Next up, heading back to USA, Devin Dixon, 5'10", 27, 155. 7-1-1, 2 knockouts, 3 submissions, 72% finish rate. Former XFN amateur champion with an 8-2 amateur record. Dixon is well-rounded, has power, and is a fight finisher with a mix of TKOs and sub. He fought and beat some quality opponents. He turned things around after a loss in a draw to get things back on track. I seen this fight, his Fury Challenger Series fight against Bruce Whitehead, where he was kind of behind in that fight, and he found a way to dig deep in deep waters and pull out a victory. So this guy's a warrior, and looking forward to seeing more of Devin. I think we'll see him in a bigger motion. Next up, another great fighter that's fighting, I think, in the next couple of weeks. Richie Miranda, 30 years old, so he's at that age, 5'9", 155 at the USA, 8-1, 4 knockouts, 2 submissions, 75% finish rate, 7-1 amateur record, now fighting in the LFA, and he's at his prime. Richie is knocking on the door at the UFC. Miranda finishes fights, well-rounded, has beat some quality opposition. He finds ways to win his fights, as per his fight with the previously mentioned Devin Dixon, a fight where he's behind on the scorecards, I believe, and found a way to come back and pull off a submission. He shows good grappling, always looking for the finish, setting up, submissions and ground and pound, all around good prospect. Hoping to see more of Richie soon, and good luck to him in his journey. Next up, Alexander Grossen, 27, 5'7", 145/155/170. I've seen him fight in multiple weight classes. Out of Russia, 25, 4-1, 5 knockouts, 3 submissions, 32% finish rate. Don't let that low finish rate fool you. Open fight champ, lightweight champion. Grossen is coming off an impressive spinning back kick KO over UFC veteran Alex Cowboy Oliveira. Again, 10-fight win streak. Also kickboxing experience and fought some quality opposition. Good stand-up, southpaw with good hard leg kicks and throws some hands as well. He has a very tough fight coming up against potentially one of the best lightweights outside the UFC and former ACA champion Eduardo Vázquez. So that's definitely going to be a tough fight, but one to watch for. Next up, Magomed Kadimagomedov, 29, 6'1", 155/170 in Kazakhstan, 10-1, 5 knockouts, 1 submission, 60% finish rate. Nazia fight lightweight title. Adarov FC lightweight champ. This guy's legit. He has a scary spinning elbow kick on YouTube, but opponents' eyes roll right in the back of their heads. He's coming off a loss to the previously mentioned Grossen, but this guy's a beast. Overall, he's legit. He finishes fights. Although he has wrestling, is mostly his bread and butter. He definitely has skills, lots of athletic kicks, takedowns, all that kind of good stuff. So one to watch out for. Number 50, moving right along, Magomed Sayuklov. 29, 5'11" out of Dagestan, Russia, 6-0, 5 knockouts, 83% finish rate, 29. So the time is now for Sadnukov. Wanted to give him a quick shout out. Looks to be, of course, have good wrestling. A cool video of him sparring with Khabib on YouTube. Good power, cage control, and heavy ground and pound. Again, wanted to include him on the list. Another beast out of Dagestan. All right, folks, that's 1/3 out of the way. Next up, Abdul Kadziev out of Tajikistan. 5-0, 3 knockouts, 1 submission, 80% finish rate, amateur record. If you look on his Instagram, I haven't been able to connect with this guy, but his record on his Instagram says 36-0, 2-time WMMAF world champ, 5-time Iranian champ, also lots of jiu-jitsu and taekwondo experience, but very, very dynamic striker with an arsenal of spinning kicks, elbows, and punches. Very flashy, fan-pleasing, and for sure a dangerous fight-ending power. He also showed that he can wrestle. He's got heavy ground and pound and also can submit. opponents. He's dominated quality opponents to date. Legit prospect, and no doubt will get picked up by a big promotion. Just a matter of him getting some exposure. But hey, this guy's a monster. Next up, KSW fans, Octagon fans will be familiar with this guy. Wanted to give him a shout out today. Matthias Lajirski, 28 5 10 155 out of Poland, 12-1, 3 knockouts, 4 submissions, 58% finish rate, 14-3 and 1 as an amateur. Former Octagon MMA lightweight champ, longtime Octagon MMA vet. Huge, dangerous fight coming up with the previously mentioned from the 145 video, Lucien Quieta as part of the Octagon lightweight tournament. Decently well around, has beat some quality opponents at this point in his career. Again, his only loss was to Quieta, but he's turned things, or his only loss was in KSW, but he's turned things around. He's strung together a little bit of a winning streak. So I wanted to give him a shout out. Definitely a guy worth mentioning. Next up, Milos Janik, 27 5 11 155 out of Monterrey, 17-3, 9 knockouts, 8 submissions, 100% finish rate. Milos has an impressive record with 100% finish rate. Started his career at 1-2. He's now gone 16-1. He's dabbled in kickboxing and bare knuckle as well, but MMA is his bread and butter. Overall, pretty decent game. Likes to mix things up. Haven't seen a ton of footage on him, but definitely want to get him on the list today. Next up, quick shout out to Hero Cohen, 23 5 8 155 at Israel, 7-0, 1 knockout, 4 submissions, 71% finish rate. Cohen is coming off a big win at Cage Warriors over Adam Cullen, which is a big win. Cullen was part of our 170 Prospect Series. So decent all-around skills. You know what? Throws some spinning kicks. He's grappling and submission games looking like he's improving. And that win over Cullen definitely earned him a shot in today's list. Next up, Damian Rebelski, 24 5 10 155 out of Poland, 7-0, 2 knockouts, 5 submissions, 100% finish rate. Some amateur experience as well. He's coming off a great start to his career. Primarily thought of as a grappler, but looks good in his feet. Southpaw fighter, throws a nice straight left, mixes in some leg kicks. For sure, submission savvy, but hey, this guy's a fight finisher at 7-0 with that 100% finish rate, so I wanted to include him. Moving right along, Ilya Karatanov, 23 5 11 155 out of Russia, 9-0, 5 knockouts, 3 submissions, 89% finish rate. I haven't seen a ton of footage on Ilya, but he's definitely a threat on the feet. There's a short of him on YouTube with a spinning back kick KO to the body. Very well, seems to be a very well-run prospect that finishes fights by both, TKO and submission, that high finish rate. So likely if he keeps this winning ways, he'll start getting some more opponents and some more exposure. Next up, Aleksandr Vertko, 22 5 9 155 170 at a Russia/Turkey, 8-0, 4 knockouts, 2 submissions, 75% finish rate. I've seen this guy fight lightweight and bantamweight. So the majority of his fights, the career has been in the ACA promotion. Aleksandr is off to a great start. He's an aggressive fighter, moves well on his feet, very agile, athletic, uses his wrestling to take down, control opponents, setting up, ground and pound and submission. 4 first-round finishes. Overall, looks like a great prospect and hope to see more of him soon. Moving right along at 58, Aguilar Grangelli, 28 5 8 155 170 out of Ecuador. 9-0, 4 knockouts, 44% finish rate. I believe he was the guy that suffered the bad knee injury a few years back, like pre-warm-up when they were in the cage getting ready to start the fight. He blew his knee out, but I believe he has a Muay Thai record of 29-2. So if you put together the Muay Thai record of 29-2, the 9-0 MMA record, yes, he's got lots of room for growth, but at just 23 with both of those great records, I want to include him on the list. Next up, another beast, really good prospect that caught my eye, Marshall Kemp, 26 5 10 155 in the USA. 7-1, 6 submissions, 86% finish rate, BJJ black belt, 8-2 as an amateur, and obviously with the black belt, the high sub rate, we know that he's good on the ground. He's a threat to submit you. But really what caught my eyes, I seen his kickboxing fights and some of his stand-up, and that's the part that I was really impressed by as well. He throws good punches, pretty hard kicks from both stances. He can switch. He's very impressive, very athletic, very agile. So this is one for sure. I could see this guy getting picked up, right away or with another win or two. So definitely one to check out. Marshall Kemp, great prospect. Next up, Samet Medvedev, 25 5 11 155 170 out of Kazakhstan, 10-0. 3 knockouts, 6 submissions, 90% finish rate, 9 first-round finishes. His last win was a first-round win over 60-fight UFC veteran Will Chape. Moved up to 170, but I know he was at 155 at one point due to previous fights. This guy wastes no time. A big takedowns, heavy top game, dangerous, definitely submission threat. And from the fights I've seen, when he gets you down, you don't get back up. He's rumored to be pursued by ONE FC to sign the fight. Prospect Series alumni Maurice Bevy, which would be a tough fight with 2 awesome prospects. So that would be cool to see if in fact that's the case. Next up, Colleen Scollin. Now this is a guy that is rumored to be fighting on the Contender Series against the previously mentioned Gage that we talked about. 24, 6 feet, 155 out of Australia. Again, always looking for prospects out of Australia. 6-1, 2 knockouts, 3 submissions, 83% finish rate. Eternal MMA lightweight champ, over 10 amateur fights. Supposed to be fighting, from what I heard, Cage Young in an upcoming contender card, so we'll see if that's the case. Highly touted prospect out of Australia, seen with a high finish rate percentages. Haven't seen much of a stand-up. Perhaps that's an area to work on, but again, I haven't seen it, so maybe it's great. But definitely a submission threat. Looks to be a good grappler. Want to give him a shout out. Next up, Shamil Gipatov, 29, 5'9", 155 out of Bahrain, 2-0, 2 knockouts. 10-2 as an amateur. IMMAF 2018 African champ, lightweight gold, 2018 world champ bronze, 2019 Asian champ gold, 2019 African silver. Another great fighter at the Bahrain powerhouse team KHK under the great Eldar Eldarov. Another example of a fighter with a lot of amateur experience and a trend that we're seeing with a lot of European fighters. Solid prospect. Looking forward to seeing more of this guy now that he's turned pro. Next up, Iowan Davis. 28, 6'1", 155 out of UK Wales, 5-0 knockout, 4 submissions, 100% finish rate, 7-1 as an amateur. Another exciting prospect of the Cage Warriors as they continue to pump out the talent. This kid finishes fights and is a fan favorite and is exciting to watch. Looks very slick on the mat. Haven't seen a lot of his takedown attempts, but, seems like he's legit in the submission aspect of the game. Also looks comfortable on his feet with speed and the hands and feet. 4 Pride Pro wins and become first round. Great prospect at age 28. The time is now. 64. And this is the guy I was excited to talk about. Callum Connor, 6 feet, 155 out of England. 5-0, 3 knockouts, 1 submission, 80% finish rate. Great looking prospect. Very agile and athletic. An array of kicks. Heavy kick game. He's legit striker. Throws nice quality punches. There's a number of kickboxing and Muay Thai fights, I believe, when he was younger on YouTube. So check it out. This guy's a beast. Really good Muay Thai skills, elbows, knees, all that kind of stuff. And definitely has a submission game. I believe, if I remember correctly, there is one of his first or second pro fight. There's a nasty head kick KO on YouTube of one of his fights. So check him out. Callum Connor, this is a guy for sure. I see get picked up in another few wins, definitely. 65, Fyodor Durek, 19, 6'1", 155, Germany by way of Serbia, I believe. 6-0, 2 knockouts, 3 submissions, 83% finish rate. A quick shout out to German/Serbian prospect and fight finisher Fyodor Durek. To be 6-0 with 5 finishes at just 19 is quite the accomplishment, regardless of what your opposition looks like. Looks to be a good grappler, a submission threat, and also athletic. He has a flying knee TKO on YouTube, I believe. So really a massive height and long reach for the 155-pound division. So check him out. 66, Sasha Gagalev, 24, 5'11", 155 out of Russia, 5-0, 4 knockouts, 1 submission, 100% finish rate, 4 first-round finishes. Quick shout out to Gagalev. Looks to be a great prospect. Throws hard, crisp punches and kicks. And looks very sharp on his feet. He's got a nice win at Ayers over 7-2, Pablo Pallet. He's very big for that division of 5'11", so an interesting prospect for sure. Number 67,
Nika Jakovic, 6'2", 145/155 out of Georgia, 5-0, 2 knockouts, 2 submissions, 80% finish rate, 4-0 as an amateur, 2-0 bare knuckle. Huge at 6'2" for the division. Quick hands, aggressive, throws hard kicks, a fight finisher with a mix of KO and submissions. Hasn't fought experienced competition yet, but that will come in time as if he continues his winning ways. 68, Nikita Lagaushev, 22, 5'11", 155 out of France, 6-0, 3 knockouts, 2 submissions, 83% finish rate. European beatdown lightweight champ. This is definitely a kid you want to check out. First fight I seen him was a spinning wheel kick KO. Huge lightweight, dynamic striker, and also shows good grappling. Looks very comfortable on the mat as well. And his record shows he can submit you. This kid is well-rounded and dangerous and definitely a fight finishing. Still room for growth. I think it was his last fight. It was against a 10-12 opponent that went the distance. But again, that'll come with experience. 69, moving on to the States. Joseph Williams, 29, 5'8", 155, 4-0, 3 knockouts, 1 submission, 100% finish rate. I believe his professional wins are all first-round stoppages. 11-1 as an amateur. 2-year gap since he's competed, so I didn't ask Joseph, if he was what the plan was there. But maybe Joseph, if you're watching, you can throw us a comment in the section below. That'd be greatly appreciated. If you're still carrying on with things, former amateur epic fighting tournament winner. He had the Spar Star champion in amateur. He's also the 559 tournament winner as an amateur. He's multiple amateur accolades. A quick shout out, great professional and amateur combined record, and he finishes fights. Kudos to Joseph for that. Check out his highlights on YouTube. There's a number of KOs and submissions. Definitely, like I said, a fight finisher in all areas. Also looks like he can wrestle and is athletic. Again, not sure of the level of competition hasn't been high, but I guess you can only fight the fighters they put in front of you, and I've been impressed by Joseph. He's 29 now, so hopefully he gets back in action and we get to see him in the cage again. Good luck to Joseph. Move right along to number 70, Adam Livingston, 23, 155 in the USA, 4-0, 2 knockouts, 1 submission, 75% finish rate, 7-2 as an amateur. Flex Fight Series, 155 professional and amateur champ. Wanted to give him a shout out from his professional and amateur success at pro. He hasn't fought higher level competition yet, but he's only 4 fights in. So that'll come in time, but he's looked really good, really well around it. Haven't seen a ton of footage on him, but for sure, definitely a skilled fighter. His hands look good. I know he has some amateur boxing fights, so that makes sense. Looks to be comfortable on the mat as well. He submitted opponents at both amateur and pro level, so looking forward to seeing more at him. Hopefully we see in action soon. Next up, another quality prospect from the USA, Cam Teague, 26, 6 feet, 145, 155. USA, 7-0, 4 knockouts, 2 submissions, 86% finish rate. Lots of amateur experience, I think. Fighting now at 145. I didn't see him when we did the 145-pound division, so I wanted to cover him in this video to make sure he got some exposure. I think all his professional fights happened in the last year and a half, so he's been very active as a professional. From the footage I've seen, he looks like a stand-up fighter and also a capable grappler. Some nice leg kicks, both low and high. I think there's a head kick on YouTube. Also appears to have decent jiu-jitsu. He has submitted a couple of opponents at the professional level, so yeah, he shows that he's a well-rounded fighter. So check him out, Cam Teague. I believe he's just coming off a key win. Next up, Chad Decker, 28, 5'8", 155 in the USA, 4-0, 1 knockout, 2 submissions, 75% finish rate, 6'1", as an amateur. Wrestling background, having wrestled in both high school and also collegiate wrestler at Eastern Michigan, I believe, University. Chad's an athletic and strong prospect. Now at 28, approaching his prime, obviously, with the wrestling background. That's his go-to, but he also looks to be comfortable and moves well on his feet. Pretty good mix of KOs and submissions, turning pro, making him a well-rounded fighter. The amateur experience, like I said, always kind of puts you ahead of the curve. And let's hope we see more of Chad soon. Always good to see American prospects up and coming. Next up, sticking with the USA, Stanley Dorselli, 24, 5'10", 155. Sorry, Stanley, I think I messed your last name up there, but 3-0 to USA, 2 knockouts, 67% finish rate, 4-0 as an amateur, now in the LFA. He was a rising warrior at lightweight champ, another young athletic prospect out of the United States of America, coming off a good amateur career, and he's definitely carried that to his professional career. And again, like I said, now in the LFA, he's coming off a big win. A lot of folks say an upset over highly touted undefeated Cedric Catalia. Looks to be pretty decent in jiu-jitsu and improving stand-up. I haven't seen a lot of it, so can't comment a whole lot on his stand-up, but definitely an interesting prospect. Let's check Stanley out. Next up, sticking with the United States, Edmund Kwan, 28, 5'8", 155/170 at the USA, 3-0, 3 submissions, 100% finish rate, all in the first round. 6-0 as an amateur with 5 finishes. Edmund obviously is a fight finisher now at lightweight, but also fought many times at welterweight. An amateur CCEL welterweight title. Most of his fights I've seen have ended quickly. He's legit on the mat and has heavy top game. Not sure what level of jiu-jitsu he is, but very good on the mat from what I've seen from a submission and ground and pound aspect. Also, the fights I've seen have ended quick in the first round and in the LFA, which of course gives you pretty good line of sight to the UFC, so hoping to see more of Edmund soon. Next up, David Gordon, 28, 6 feet, 145/155. Out of the USA, 3-0, 3 knockouts, 6-0 as an amateur, GC MMA amateur lightweight champ, BJJ black belt. Great to see another prospect come from the States. David has a great run so far between both professional and pro career. Looks to be well-rounded, sets up the takedowns, and as mentioned, it's a BJJ black belt, so it's dangerous once the fight hits the floor. Also shows some good ground and pound from the footage I've seen. I haven't seen a ton of his stand-up, so again, I can't really comment too much on that, but he does look comfortable on his feet, and he uses his long range well. I believe David is also a full-time coach. He may have mentioned that to me. Runs his own gym, so check him out, David Gordon. I don't know if his... check him out on Instagram if you want to get more information, or Facebook on his gym and his team. So good luck to David moving forward. Great looking prospect and hope to see more. Next up, again in the USA, Derek Babcock, 23, 155 at the USA, 3-0, 3 submissions, 6-1 as an amateur. Rise of Warrior amateur title at lightweight, World Class Fight League amateur champ. Another example of a fighter turning pro, already being seasoned due to the amateur experience. From the footage I've seen, he's well-rounded prospect, big takedowns, smothered opponents with dirty boxing, and has some power. Fights at a high pace, and of course, as per his record, is a submission threat. Of course, looks to be a strong wrestler to complement his overall game. Looking forward to seeing more of Derek. Moving on, we're over halfway, folks. Rizvan Ali, 27, 6 feet, 155 out of Pakistan, 8-0, 3 knockouts, 4 submissions, 6% finish rate. Karate combat veteran. Flyweight Series lightweight champ, good prospect and dangerous striker. Obviously, with his background, stand up is where he wants the fight to stay. Throws an array of kicks and punches, and also has become a submission threat as for his 4 submissions victories as a professional. Hasn't fought high-level competition, and in this last fight, looks like his condition may have been an issue, but he found a way to win. So definitely a guy with potential. He's at the good age right now, too, so Rizwan Ali. Next up, going back to the States, another beast, Lester Bates. 21, 5'10", 155/170. 3-0, 2 submissions, 67% finish rate. 13-2 as an amateur. Loads of amateur experience, 2022 IMMAF Pan Am Gold, and the same in 23. Beat some great amateur opposition. Great young prospect at the USA. I think he's, fought a lightweight at M170. So I wanted to include him on the list. Very athletic, physically strong, big slams and solid grappling. Again, a huge difference with the amateur background. Looks comfortable on his feet. Fluid punches, leg kicks, and dirty boxing. Excited to see more of Lester. So good luck in your run, Lester. 79, Salamat Isbulaev out of Russia. 26, 5'11", 155, 7-0, 7-0, 1 knockout, 6 submissions, 7 first-round stoppages. Topallaj and Sherlock have offsetting records. One at 7-1, one at 7-0. Believe he's undefeated. Another young monster from Russia, as mentioned, 7 first-round finishes. His fights are really quick, so it's hard to get a good read on him. Very big for lightweight, strong, athletic, and of course, good wrestling. Definitely power in his hands and also very fast. So now fighting in the ACA is going to get some tough matchups. Number 80, Majid Saradov out of Kazakhstan, 27-5, 9-145, 155, 170. 6-0, 1 knockout, 3 submissions, 67% finish rate. Want to give this guy a quick shout out. In amateur, he won 4 fights in one night, Kazakhstan National Championship 2019, Asian Championship, lightweight bronze in IMMAF. Very strong, heavy wrestling, athletic, and light on his feet. 81, we're going to cruise now, folks. Gabriel Costa of Brazil, 23-6-1, 155, 9-1, 4 knockouts, 4 submissions, 100% finish rate. In the LFA right now, so close to a UFC. He's beat some quality opponents for sure. Check out Gabriel Costa. Another quick shout out, Hafina Nakula out of Nambia, Germany. Just 19 years old, 5'9", 155, 9-1, 2 knockouts, 6 submissions, 89% finish rate. Definitely a submission threat. Huge lightweight. I'm not sure about his stand-up yet, but I think it's developing. And you know what? This guy could end up being a very dangerous prospect. Former Legion FC lightweight champ. So definitely got to check out. 82. Sorry, we mixed the guy. 83. So Predrag Bedanovic, 28, 6 feet, 155 out of Serbia, 16-2, 2 knockout, 5 submissions, 44% finish rate, 5 sub, former Serbian battle lightweight champ. You know what? I want to include this guy. He's coming off a devastating loss, but he had a great run in his career. He got caught against the previous mentioned Luciano Chieta with a devastating body shot. Luciano Chieta's got star potential, but Predrag, you know what? He had 16-2, great record. He's only 28. I think he can put things back together, and it'd be great to see him get picked up for like a Bellator or PFL undercard for sure in the future. A couple more quick shoutouts. William de Lima out of Brazil, 26-5, 10-145 /155 /170. 11-1 4 knockouts, 4 submissions, 73% finish rate. His last couple wins were over good opponents. Others were against low level. His lone loss, he got caught early, but rebounded. He's still very young and talented. 85, Matias Rocha out of Brazil, 25-5, 9-155, 8-1, 7 knockouts, 88% finish rate. His only loss was in the LFA against the earlier mentioned Jefferson Nascimento. His last win was over a 5-0 opponent. Also, he has a high KO percentages. And if he continues that trend, no doubt he's going to get a shot. Moving right along, 86, we have Akhmad Dakaev in Russia, 22-5, 9-155, 6-0, 3 knockouts, 2 submissions, 83% finish rate. Another young beast from Russia. Heavy wrestling with fight finish and ground and pound. He's also a submission threat, hard low kicks, quick hands, and just 22. South Korea, Ajin Park, 6 feet, 155, 7-1, 3 knockouts, 3 submissions, 86% finish rate. Big, strong lightweight at 6 feet. Not a lot of footage on him. Very grappling heavy and a fight finishing with both ground and pound and submission. Next up, Tedrick Macklin. This is a guy I want to talk about. 227, 5'11", 55 at the USA. 6-1, 1 knockout, 4 submissions, 5-1 as an amateur. Only loss was the fellow previously mentioned Devin Dixon. Primarily has fought in Fury FC. Karate champion and Taekwondo champion backgrounds. Very physically strong and large for lightweight. Could definitely see him getting picked up by the UFC or PFL with another win or two. Definitely got to check out. 89. Denny Daphne out of Indonesia. This guy's a beast. 6'1", 155, just 24 years old. 6-1, 3 knockouts, 3 submissions, 100% finish rate. This guy looks like a mini Johnny Walker for sure. Believe his entire pro career has been in one Pride MMA. Most of his fights are on YouTube. He's been in some tough battles. There's definitely a submission threat. He's got a big head kick KO, which you can check out on YouTube. Number 90, our first Canadian on the list, which is cool. Jet Grand, 26-5, 10-1, 155, again into Canada. 6-1, 3 knockouts, 3 submissions, 100% finish rate. 2018 IMMAF Junior Welterweight Gold. 2019 Pan Am Welterweight Gold. Canadian Amateur Champion. Flogger Series Lightweight Champion. 15-1 as an amateur. Jet has a wealth of experience if you combine his amateur and professional career. Jet at the pro level is a fight finisher as per his 100% finish rate. He's pretty well rounded with power, grappling. He's a submission threat. After a dominating amateur career, Jeff has been pushed hard in his pro career and has found ways to win fights and progress with a 6-1 record. Very well-rounded prospect. Looking forward to seeing more. You know what? With a win or two, you would think Jet potentially gets a shot at the Contender Series. So best of luck to Jet moving forward. Next up, Janov Manzov. 20 years old, 5'10", 145/155 at Tajikistan, 2-0, 1 knockout, 1 submission, 100% finish rate. 2022, Asian Junior Featherweight Gold. 2023, Russian Cup Gold, 7-0 as an amateur. Wanted to give Irmanov a shout out, just 2-0, but as a pro, but with the amateur competition, wanted him on the list. Also, he's very young, he's very athletic, comfortable on his feet, and of course, can wrestle. Let's see what he does as his career progresses. 92, Anthony De Silva, 25, 5'10", 155 at a USA, 3-0, 2 knockouts, 1 submission, 100% finish rate, 3-time state wrestling champion in high school. Also, former Fight Epic lightweight amateur champion, included 2 title defenses after capturing the belt. Anthony is a prospect I stumbled upon recently, and I mentioned he has some good credentials, well-rounded fighter that utilizes wrestling, control opponents, set up ground and pound submissions. A fight finisher that also showed his amateur career as he has a gas tank to go to distance. At just 25, I'm looking forward to seeing more of Anthony De Silva. 93, Muslim Daniyev out of Austria, 27, 5'10", 155, 170, 7-0, 4 knockouts, 2 submissions, 86% finish rate. A quick show to Muslim. Perhaps the UFC is due for another Australian fighter next to Ratchik. A southpaw fighter. This guy finishes fight. He's got a big head kick KO on YouTube. You can check out. All 3 fights I've seen, he's won by KO. So definitely someone that'll be on the radar with he keeps up with his winning ways. Next up, 94, Ilya Barzilay. 23, 5'10", 155 at Israel. 5-0, 3 knockouts, 60% finish rate. 5-1 as an amateur. Big, strong, athletic, lightweight. Puts on exciting fights. He's a scrapper. This guy's all around good game. Throws with power. And he's good grappling as well. Big KO in his last win. Is now 3-0 in the LFA, putting him on the UFC's telescope. Combining his pro and amateur record, he's got lots of experience. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of Islay. Again, off to a really great start in his career, so good luck to the rest of the way. Next up, Ivan Kulak, 22, 6 feet, 155 at the Belarus, 7-0, 3 knockouts, 3 submissions, 86% finish rate. A quick shout out to Ivan. His last fight put him on the radar for me. It was a tough fight, back and forth, gritty fight. He ended up winning by brutal head kick KO. Showed very, very, very tough grit in that fight. Great record, great finish rate, and good size for 155. So let's hope we see more of him. Next up, going back to Japan, Daichi Kamiya, 25, 5'10", 155. 5-0, no contest, 2 submissions, 40% finish rate. Good looking prospect from Japan. Have seen limited footage, but looks to be athletic and well-rounded. His last win was over 55 veteran Mansher Khera, so that was pretty impressive. And again, looks like be a decent grappler. Hopefully, we'll see more soon. Next up, Army Lebedov, 29, 5'9", 55 at a Russia, 8-0, 5 knockouts, 3 submissions, 100% finish rate, 7-1 as a K1 fighter, MMA Series lightweight champ. This guy's dangerous. Hard crisp kicks and hard knees and elbows. Not only KO power in his kicks and his hands, but also a viable submission threat as per his 3 professional wins. Shows good takedown offense and 5 first-round finishes. Been starting to face tougher competition and entering his prime. He's looking good, and hopefully we see more of this guy. Next up, going back to Canada, Nelton Sneeve. 24, 5'10", 155, 3-0, 1 knockout, 1 submission, 67% finish rate, 6-1 as an amateur. Ignite Fights lightweight amateur champ, plus a 145 champ, I believe. Steve is off to a great start in his career, sensational amateur career. 2 or 3 pro wins have come in the LFA with another scheduled fight for the fall. This kid is a scrapper. He's got some tough amateur wins and finish, of course. Has carried into his pro career. He's athletic, cage savvy. He's got a good gas tank, big ground and pound and elbows, strong jiu-jitsu and grappling. And in the LFA, he could be on, a fast track to UFC if he keeps looking this impressive. Moving right along, quick show to Arbi Akhmedov, 27, 5'9", 155 at a Russia, 7-0, 3 knockouts, 1 submission. 57% finish rate. Want to go back to Russia for a quick shout out. I believe he's been on action for a couple of years now. So again, this guy looks like a legitimate fighter, prospect. And I want to see if anybody on today's video knew anything about him and what his status was. So feel free, if you do, to comment in the section below. Number 100, Ramil Kamilov, USA by way of Russia, 6'1", 155, 3-0, 1 knockouts, 2 submissions, 100% finish rate. King of the Cage fight in early September schedule. 5-0 as an amateur, 4 stoppages, all first round. CFF amateur lightweight title. Haven't seen a lot of footage on him. A decent prospect with well-rounded skills, as per his combined 9-0 record with pro and amateur, making him a fight finisher. Definitely would like to see more of him so I can fully comment on him, but definitely one to watch for Ramil Kamilov. Next up, Tommy Kozoli, 24, 155 in the USA, 6-0, 4 knockouts, 2 submissions, 100% finish rate. Close to 10 amateur fights, the VCFC amateur champ at lightweight and the Fight Night Challenge amateur champ. Tommy had a big step up in competition. His last fight, he proceeded to win in flying colors with a second round TKO over 5-1 Theo Radzley, who was a Dana White Contender Series alumni. That was a big win. Tommy fights aggressive, pushing the pace, backing opponents up against the cage with punches and kicks, setting up the takedown. 5 first-round finishes as a pro, most wins by KO, but in the amateur, he did have some submission wins. If he can put together another couple of wins, man, especially coming off that big one, you could see him getting a call for a Contender Series. So, great job so far, Tommy, and hope to see you on the TV soon. Next on the list, a quick shout-out, Kevin Ronaldo. Don't know an age in this guy, so if you're watching today, you do, please comment. 155 in Spain, 5-0 as a pro, 5-1 as an amateur. Limited footage, but he's very aggressive. Hasn't fought high-level competition, but he's a fight finisher. If anyone has any info on him, please comment below. Next up, Lucas Rosa at the USA, 28, 145/155. 3-0, 3 submissions, 100% finish rate, all first-round finishes, 9-1 as an amateur, and also has some kickboxing and Muay Thai fights. ROAW amateur 145 title in kickboxing, RFC 145 kickboxing title. Looks like he has good wrestling, takedown offense, and heavy top game. Also looks strong and athletic. Haven't seen much of a stand-up, but with the kickboxing and Muay Thai background, I'm sure he's pretty comfortable there, but we'll need to see more before I can fully comment. I think he's the brother of Charles Rosa, so that, having said that, he's obviously going to know what the path is to get to a big promotion, but definitely one to watch out for, Lucas Rosa. Next up, Drake Randall, 27, 155 in the USA, 6-0, 2 knockouts, 4 submission, 100% finish rate. Upcoming fight September, 3-0 as an amateur, 2 TKO. Excite weight, lightweight title, BFC in Vancouver. I think his next fight is in Battlefield League in Vancouver. And it might be for the 145-pound title against 5-1 Drake Da Silva, which would be a big test. Very big test for him. So, collegiate wrestling background. From the footage I've seen, he utilizes wrestling where he's very technical on the ground, closes the gap well, sets up the takedowns. Again, very technical, looking for ground and pound submission. He's definitely a threat with a 100% finish rate. Still newish to the sport, just turning pro back in 2023, but definitely a prospect with potential. Hopefully we see more of him soon. And if he is fighting in the Battlefield League, that'll be exciting as well. Next up, William Haycox, 28, 6 feet, 155 in England, 3-0 in submission, 33% finish rate, 10-0 as an amateur. Battle Arena amateur champ at 170 and lightweight. FCC amateur lightweight title. Not a ton of footage on him at Haycox, but lots of his fights. Lots of his older fights are on YouTube for the last 5-6 years. As an amateur, all wins by stoppage, all wins by stoppage, including 7 first-round stoppages, which is pretty impressive for the amateur ranks. Recent professional fight after 2-year layoff, and he won by the very rare banana split submission. So something really cool to check out. That caught my eye, William, and wanted to get you on today's list. So good luck moving forward. Next up, a quick show with the Russian Shamil Shigirgov. 26 years old. I've seen this guy fight at 155, 145, 170, 6-0, 1 knockout, 2 submissions, 50% finish rate. Fighting amateur champ at 170. His Instagram shows him being the world championship in grappling and Russian grappling and pancration. Seen limited footage on Shamil, but he's as smothered in wrestling from what I've seen. Looks to be strong and athletic. Just a quick show that wanted to get him on today's list. A really quick hit here at 107, Saak Wan Bank, 5'11", 145/155. South Korea 5-0, 5 knockouts, 100% finish rate. KO artist, low level competition, but definitely looking to see how he's going to do when he steps things up. Want to wait another quick shout out. Bar Kalan, 29, 6 feet, 155 at Israel, 9-0, 1 knockout, 8 submissions, 6 first round finishes. Submission specialist, close to signing with Bellator, UFC, or PFL, I'm sure, with that 100% finish rate. Next up, another quick shout out. Magomed Aliev, 31, 5'10", 155, 170 out of Russia. Again, the reason this guy got on the list because he was 8-0. He stepped up. He moved up to fight an undefeated welterweight and looked like he pretty much dominated the fight with takedowns, but he ended up losing a decision victory. So I thought it'd be cool to give him a shout out. Again, good wrestler, very big for the division. I'm not sure if we'll see this guy, in a big promotion, but potentially. Next up, Pierre Guapalo, 19, 5'8", 155 out of Peru, 6-0, 5 knockouts, 83% finish rate, 2-0 as an amateur. Wanted to give Pierce a shout out. At just 19 years of age, he's already 6-0 at 5 knockouts. The level of competition hasn't been high, but if you can watch his fights on YouTube. He's been in some wars. He's gritty. He's got power, and potentially this guy could end up being something. Moving on, back to the States. Number 111, Daniel Wyatt, 30 years old, 6 feet. 6'1", 145, 155 at the USA, 1 knockout, 3 submissions, 80% finish rate. He's got some amateur fights. Daniel is a massive for lightweight, very long, not only big for 145, but also 155. Haven't seen a ton of footage on him, but what I've seen, he's off to a great start in his career with 4 first-round finishes. Hasn't fought high-level competition, but again, that's likely going to change if he continues his winning ways. Looks to be a good grappler. Always looking for the finish. So yeah, looking forward to seeing more of Daniel. Hopefully we see you back in action soon. Daniel, again, congrats on a great start to your career. Next up, Salamat Isbulaev, 28, 6 feet, 155/170 out of Morocco. 6-0, 2 knockouts, 3 submissions, 83% finish rate. I think he's got an upcoming fight. I don't know a whole lot about this guy, but I want to give him a shout out. This guy is very powerful and big for 155. He's got heavy ground and pound slams and takedowns. He's wrestling based. I haven't seen a lot of him, but the ground and pound was so ferocious. He looks so big and strong that I wanted to include him on today's list, so definitely a guy to check out. Next up, a quick shout out to Macon Kevin, 27, 5'7", 155 of Brazil, 5-0, 4 knockouts, 1 submission, 400% finish rate. Wanted to give him a quick shout out. Kevin got a nice record. He's got the 100% finish rate. Looks like he's got decent hands. I couldn't find a whole lot of information on him, but definitely wanted to get him on today's list. Next up, Shane Collins, 24, 5'10", 155 of the USA. 1-0, 1 knockout, 100% finish rate, 9-2 as an amateur. Lots of stoppage wins, but TKO and submission. The IMMAF Pan Am Lightweight 2022 Gold and the SSP Lightweight Amateur title. Looks very comfortable on his feet. Definitely a good striker with an arsenal of kicks and punches. Very fluent. Quality punches. Got a karate-like stance. Very athletic with speed and accuracy. Definitely a legit prospect. Could see this guy get into a big promotion someday if he's string together 5 or 6 wins. Check him out. Shane Collins, great prospect. 155, Halali Nazari, 5'11", 155/145, fighting out of Canada by way of Afghanistan, 4-0, 2 knockouts, 50% finish rate. I wanted to give him a shout out to Bilal, just 4-0 and early into his career, but he looks to be getting better each and every fight. He's a very big featherweight/lightweight, very long, very lanky for the division. He showed power in his, I think it was his last fight. He had a big KO overhand right. Looks to be comfortable on his feet, moves well. Seems to be a pretty competent grappler, lots of strength. I'm not sure what level jiu-jitsu he's at, but I've seen him in some grappling matches. For sure, definitely one to watch out for. I'm really looking forward to seeing more of his fights. So Bilal Nazari, check him out. 160, Maxim Flynn, UK, USA, 23, 5'8", 155, 3-0, 1 submission. 23% finish rate. Like you say, one site has him listed as UK, the other site USA, so not sure on that. Maybe Maxim, if you're watching, you could comment what part of the world you're from, whether it be the UK or USA. Some amateur fights to go along with some K1 kickboxing experience. Haven't seen a ton of footage, but he looks like he's pretty solid, up and comer, moves well on his feet, throws decent punches and kicks. Again, he's got some kickboxing experience. Looks like it served him well. Most of his wins came from amateur wins came via KO, so I know his striking game is there. But he looks to be a good grappler as well. He's got a professional submission victory. Looking forward to seeing more of this guy. 117, quick shout out to Yuki Suzuki out of Japan, 5'10", 155, having 0-4 knockouts, 80% finish rate. Very unproven, but at 18 years of age, with the 3 first-round KOs, one of them was in 15 seconds, and the other one was right after the second round, so I wanted to give him a shout-out. Yuto Suzuki, just 18 years of age. Next up, Sayat Abduali, 31, again, a little older, but wanted to show quick shout-out. 5'10", 155 out of Kazakhstan, 8-0, 4 knockouts, 2 submissions, 75% finish rate. Real quick shout-out, very big lightweight / could even fight at welterweight, may have already. Great record, 6 first-round finishes, a mix of TKO and sub. Boxing experience, he's had at least 1 pro fight. M1 global veteran, he's beat a couple of decent opponents. Just shows the continued growth from Kazakhstan, pumping out more prospects. So definitely a guy I wanted to get some exposure to. Next up, first fighter out of Scotland, I believe, today. Lorenzo Parati, 23, 3-0, 3 knockouts, 100% finish rate as a professional. Another real quick shout out to Lorenzo. Good looking up and comer out of Scotland with all pro wins coming via stoppage. Also, obviously, he had the extensive amateur career, close to 20 amateur fights, I believe, and that served him well as he turned pro. He was the EMO four Nations champion, I believe. That's 3 fights in 3 days. If you compile his professional amateur career together, he's very experienced with pretty well-rounded skills. He's rumored to be signed potentially to the PFL and perhaps fighting on an upcoming PFL Europe card. So hopefully that's true. If that's the case, you know what? Wish him the best. And just 3 fights into his career, that's a big step up. So kudos to Lorenzo if that's the case. But great start to your career, sir, and hope to see more of you soon. 120, Preston Stock, 27, 6 feet, 155 of the USA. 4-0 knockout, 2 submissions, 75% finish rate. 2-0 kickboxing professional. 7-0 as an amateur, 5 knockouts, 1 submission as an amateur. So typically, we're kind of cheating a bit here because obviously we said no Bellator experience. But back in 2017, Bellator put on some amateur cards, which they no longer do. And he had fought on one of them. So that's something I didn't pick up until I was putting the video together. Anyways, I'll make the exception. I wanted to get him on or get him some exposure. From the footage I've seen, it's old, 8 to 10 years old. I haven't seen a ton of him recently, but you know what? He's pretty well-rounded. He did some kickboxing and MMA back in the day. If you combine all his records, he's done great. He's got a great finish rate and good size for 155. And 27, he's entering his prime, so I wanted to get him on the list today. Next up, Robinson Santos out of Brazil, 28, 5'11", 145 / 155, 8-0, 4 knockouts, 3 submissions, 88% finish rate. Again, a very quick shout out to Robinson for some promotion. He got a high finish rate percent. He's big and long for the division with 5 first-round finishes. And for the most part, he's fought low-level competition, but he's 8-0. I wanted to give him a shout out. Next up, the same can be said about Jason Santos out of Brazil, 27, 155 / 170, just 5'8", 8-0 as a professional, 2 knockouts, 2 submissions, 50% finish rate. Not a ton of footage on Santos, but again, he's very big, looks very powerful. He's got a big KO on YouTube you can check out. Strong looking prospect. Would like to see him get signed and step up in competition. So Jostin Santos. 123, Arizbek Krzedev, 5'9", 155, 170, Uzbekistan, 8-0, 2 knockouts, 1 submission, 38% finish rate. Looks like he had 3 pro exhibitions, so one side has him 8-0, the other side has him at 5-0, 2-0 as an amateur. Falco FC, 1-night tournament victory. Kulak, 3 fights and 1-night tournament win. Looks to be another strong fighter in Uzbekistan. Given his record, his strong wrestling background, from what I've seen, I want to get him on the list, and I believe this guy may have been involved in a pre-fight brawl in Uzbekistan before one of his last fights, so something to check out. Next up, a quick shout-out to Gene Dos Santos out of Benin, 7-0, 2 knockouts, 1 submission, 43% finish rate. Very strong, athletic-looking fighter now fighting in the Ares promotion, which should give him some exposure and more fights. He has a good win in his last Ares debut, a big KO win over 3-0 Muhammad Baliad. So definitely want to check out. Next up, the Dualesi, 25, 5'10" at Albania, 155, 145, 5-0, 5 first round, 5 submissions, 100% finish rate, all first round submissions. WFC 145 and 155 pound champ. He's got some amateur fights. It's hard to not do on this list with, the 5 for 5 submissions, being the double champ. Obviously, it says a lot about his ground game. Haven't seen a whole lot of his stand-up, and he hasn't fought high-level competition, but you know what? Definitely deserves a spot on today's list. 126, we're getting there, folks. Magomed Uzbekilov, 22, 5'8", 155, 4-0, 3 knockouts, 1 submission. Big Aries fight coming up against Prospect alumni Owen Harris in September. So many young prospects at this weight class. Definitely want to include him. He's a fight finisher, wrestling, prowess, ground and pound. I see him with spinning head kick KO as well. Big flying knee KO on YouTube in the ACA. You can check out. But from the fights I've seen, looks to be a legitimate fighter, and be interested to see what he does against Ion coming up. 27, a very quick shout out to Gabriel Pescati, 30 years old, 5'10", 155/170 out of Brazil, 6-0, 5 knockouts, 83% finish rate. Usually, again, we don't mention folks that are 30 or above. However, wanted to give him a quick shout out. I also see him doing some kickboxing and Muay Thai, so he looks like a decently well-rounded fighter. Hopefully, this gets him a bit of exposure, and we'll see him in a fight in the not-so-distant future. Next up, a super quick shout out to Alex Sanchez, another fighter out of Mexico, and another guy who's 30. 5'11", 155, 170, 15-3, 8 knockouts, 2 submissions, 2021 Combate Global Lightweight Champ. Uriah Favors, A1 Combat Lightweight Champ. Want to give him a quick shout out. Nothing flashy about this guy, but he's on a 7-fight win streak. He finds ways to win fights. Doesn't necessarily look great doing it, but he's a warrior, and he finds ways to pull it off. And right now at age 30, maybe a little bit of exposure will help him out. Next up, a quick show to Gabriel Masadi out of Peru, 3-0 knockout, 33% finish rate, 27 fight, 155. This guy has an extensive Muay Thai background, which you can see on YouTube. Brutal wars in his Muay Thai career, but very good striker with kicks, knees, and elbows. Looks like he's made the transition well to MMA. So I think the first fight I seen him was against a 4-on-1 fighter. It might have been in Combate Global. Definitely check him out, Gabriel Mazzati. 130, Jose Ferrer out of Chile, 28, 145/155 at 5'6", 12-1 and 1 no contest. 4 knockouts, 5 submissions, 75% finish rate. Foreign Productions, LFN champ for about 145, 155. Rebound with a big win over undefeated Casio Jr. Most likely will be at 145 for the time being. Jose is well-rounded fighter. Legitimate submission and TKO threat. He's beat some quality opponents in his career, and at just 26, he still has time for sure. I could see him getting picked up with another win or two. 131, David Smolinski, 28, 6'1", 145, 155 out of Poland. 11-1, 8 knockouts, 2 submissions, 91% finish rate. Lots of amateur experience. We talked about Dawood in the 2020 series. He's fought and beat some tough opponents. He's got a classic Big K flying knee KO on YouTube, so check him out. Hopefully Dawood gets picked up by someone. You know what? He's a good lightweight for sure. Next up, Samuel Santos out of Brazil, 21, 6 feet, 155/170, 9-1, 6 knockouts, 1 submission, 78% finish rate. Want to give Sam a quick shout out. Huge lightweight with great record, and he's just 21 with that high finish rate percent. I've seen a handful of his fights for sure. Has lots of room for growth, but he's athletic, long. 6 TKO speaks to his power, and he showed good submission skills. Lower level competition, but hey, the guy's just 21, and he has lots of time, so hopefully we see more of Samuel. Number 33 is Zlatko Murakodev, 25, 5'10", 155 at Kazakhstan, 12-2, 5 knockouts, 42% finish rate. A quick shout out to this guy. Continues the line of great fighters out of Kazakhstan. He beat some very good opponents, and he lost a couple of close fights. Definitely well-rounded fighter. Shows up to fight. Gritty and has power for sure, so hopefully we'll see more of this guy soon. Moving on, 134, Mikel Pagani. This guy's a killer. 25, 5'9", 155 at Italy, 7-1 with 1 no contest, 5 knockouts, 71% finish rate. Another beast I wanted to give a shout out to. This guy is a dangerous striker with a Muay Thai background. He's got some highlight KOs on YouTube. Check out some of the fights on YouTube. Flying knee KOs, sharp punches, hard leg kicks. He's coming off a tough last war to UFC vet and great fighter Mason Jones. Michael is only 25, and I'm sure we will see more of him soon. Definitely could see him someday in big promotion. Next up, I want to give this guy a shout out. He's 32, James Parrott, England, 5'9", 155/170, 7-1, 6 knockouts, 86% finish rate, 3-0 as an amateur. I think Sherdog has his record wrong at 6-2, but Topallaj 7-1. Again, normally don't mention these guys, but James, he's an under the radar, dangerous, slick southpaw fighter with power in his hands and also dangerous left kicks. He's fun to watch. He'd be fun. Like, I could definitely sit down and watch this guy in the UFC undercard like next week. He'd fit right in. So hopefully he gets a shot soon. Great looking prospect. Don't know about his ground game, but definitely a good striker and fun to watch. Next up, LJ Rabali, 29, 5'5", 155, 170 USA, 4 knockouts, 1 no contest, 1 TKO, 3 submission, 100% finish rate, 4-0 as an amateur. A very quick start to his career. Rabali hasn't fought since 2022, but I wanted to give him a shout out. Again, if anyone knows the status of LJ, but he's been off for over a year, please comment in the section below. It'd be great to hear the status on him. 137, Alexander Dorstov, 22, 5'10", 155 out of Russia, 7-1-1, 71% finish rate. Another great Russian fighter. That caught my eye when he beat another prospect we're going to talk about shortly. Another physically strong, big, athletic, and young prospect. He has good sub game as per his 5 pro finishes. Perhaps an area growth could be on the feet. Moving right along, 138, Ilya Zaleski, 25, 6'2", out of Belarus, massive for 155, 8-1, 4 knockouts, 3 submissions, 88% finish rate. Again, this guy's massive for 155, very long reach, big time finish, fight finishing prospect, TKOs, KOs, and submission, 4 first-round stoppages. He's aggressive and fights at a high pace. Still only 25, so lots of room to grow, and he has time to make moves. Moving on now to number 139, Husein Kadimagomaev, 25 out of Uzbekistan, 155, 170, 7-0, 6 knockouts, 1 submission. A quick shout out to the monster from Uzbekistan. He has 5 first-round KOs, a southpaw with power that can also wrestle. He's a fight finisher that can KO or submit you. He's beat a couple of quality opponents, and he fights in the Muradov Professional League. So definitely he's got a path to the UFC, being part of Muradov's promotion. Definitely can see more of this guy. And again, another beast coming out of Uzbekistan. 140, Cristian Lorga, 29, 5'7", 55 out of Romania. A quick show, 7-1, 3 knockouts, 1 submission, 57% finish rate. 2016 IMMAF World Bronze, 2018 European Champ Bronze, Hermes Fight League lightweight title, approximately 15 to 20 amateur fights, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, grappling, background. You can see the way he fights. He's relentless in his takedowns and dirty boxing. At 29, you know what? Some of these big promotions are always looking to expand in Romania, so potentially we could see him get picked up by someone, but a shout out to Cristian Lorga. Next on the list, Michael Boylan, 23, 6 feet, 170 of the USA. 3-0, 2 knockouts, 1 submission, 100% finish rate, 10-3 as an amateur, MCC lightweight amateur champ, TFS at lightweight amateur champ. This kid is a big lightweight at 6 feet. Again, a pro, started his career with a lot of amateur fights, a big leap against competition. A quick shout out. He's off to a good start in his career, 3 for 3 with 3 finishes, all in the first round. I hadn't seen much footage on him, but Michael appears to be heavy grappling, wrestling based. I can't comment on a stand-up, but for sure, good-looking prospect. Next up, a quick show to Redzman Kislov, 24, 5'10", 155 out of Russia. Just want to know as a pro, that win came over a 4-0 fighter, which is impressive. Also, the reason he's on today's list, 2018 IMMAF Junior World Champion, lightweight gold. He beat an 8-1 fighter to win that too, so he's a legitimate prospect. Let's see how far he can go. 23. Now this guy, folks, to me looks like a monster. 5'11", 25, 155/170. I got 2 sites. One says Russia, one says Kazakhstan. 5-0, 2 knockouts, 3 submissions, 100% finish rate. Again, potentially a monster. Who caught my eye. He was 1-0, and he fought another fighter we're going to talk about who's 9-1 on today's list, and he dominated him. So he's big, strong. Yeah, he finishes fights. He looks to be all around it. Moves very well on his feet. Can throw hard, low kicks, power in his hands. Good wrestling. Throws a nice jab. Really nice overhand right. So to me, this guy's a legitimate prospect. Should check him out. Next up, we're getting close, folks. Casio Jr., 28, 5'8", 155/145 out of Brazil. 8-1-1, 3 knockouts, 5 submissions, 100% finish rate. MP Fight 170 champ. BJJ black belt, also got a Muay Thai background. Very exciting, fan-pleasing fighter to watch. Coming off a tough loss that previously mentioned Jose Ferreira. But at 28, with the high percent finish rate. If he can get a win, you know what? I see no reason why he wouldn't get picked up. Speed, athleticism, aggression. Definitely an interesting prospect, and hopefully we'll see more of him soon. 145, Romain Sultanov, 28 6 feet, 155 at Algerzin, 9-1, 4 knockouts, 3 submissions, 78% finish rate. The former Eagle FC 155 champ lost the previously mentioned beast Termin Asarapov. That guy was he's compiled a good record, high finish rate percentages, beats some quality opponents, very athletic, moves well on his feet, quality to ground and pound, good wrestling, and you know what, fights at a high level. Also submission savvy and KO power. Overall, very well-rounded prospect. Next up, a shout out to Kamaruto Sufiev, 30 years old, 145 and 55 out of Tajikistan, fighting out of Germany via Tajikistan, I believe. 10-1, 1 knockout, 4 submissions, 50% finish rate. Very quick shout out to Somiev. He's well-rounded fighter. Enters his prime. He's got a win over UFC fighter Manula Zecchi. His only loss was the tough and Bellator, the Ultimate Fighter / Bellator veteran Lee Hammond. Definitely a decent fighter. By no means is he any slouch, and he's entering his prime, so it'll be really cool to see him get a shot before it's too late, but he's a quality fighter for sure. Next up, a quick shout out to Nikola Janovic, 19, 155 out of Croatia, 9-1, 6 knockouts, 3 submissions, 100% finish rate. At just 19 years of age, with the record he has and a high percent finish rate, I wanted to include him on the list. I did have the person that beat him on there as well, but the software I'm using, it cut me off at 151 fighters. So hopefully, perhaps in another video, we'll feature Bosnir Chernovic as the guy who beat him. But at just 19, 9-1, 100% finish rate, I wanted him on the list. 148. Hakuna Adil, 24, 5'11", 155 at Afghanistan, 4-0, 3 knockouts, 1 submission. Just 4-0, but after seeing him fight in a ferocious ground and pound, I had to include him. Quick hands, big takedowns, heavy ground and pound. Looks very physically strong. Check out his fight on YouTube against Yusuf Raisov. This guy is definitely a monster. He's got potential for sure. Ramazan Solanov out of Russia, 5'9", 155, 6-0, 4 knockouts, 1 submission, 83% finish rate. A quick shout out to another young, strong, talented Russian prospect who controls and mauls opponents. Low level competition, but you can only fight the people they put in front of you. At 6-0, with his high percentage finish rate and his wrestling, I just wanted to make sure I give him a shout out. There's definitely potential there, so check him out. 150, Norbek Drzaki, 25, 5'9", 155 at a Poland, 6-0 submission, 70% finish rate, wrestling background, 2015 World Cadet Championship, silver. And from what I can see, very quick shout out. Again, what I can see is he uses that wrestling background to his advantage, controlling opponents. He's beat quality opposition. He hasn't transitioned his wrestling into MMA finishes yet, but that will come in time. He's only 25, and again, he's got a strong wrestling base, so definitely want to watch out for. And last but not least on the list, I had to add this guy. I didn't have him on the original list, but after rewatching a few of his fights, Juan Alvarez, 25 years old, 145/155 in the USA, 4-0, 1 knockout, 2 submissions, 75% finish rate. I believe he's got in the vicinity 15 to 20 amateur fights at least. After rewatching his fights, I definitely wanted him in there. This guy is explosive, very explosive. I seen him pull off a couple of very nice heel hook submissions. Very athletic. He's got lots of speed. He got a big win over the favorite, Mohamed Zokov, who was 6-1 in his last fight. It's a fight that I believe he was the underdog. In the first round, he was kind of dominated by wrestling, and he just found a way to pull it off. So, still young. But you know what? After seeing the recent footage and how explosive and athletic he is, I wanted to include him on the list. So definitely, if you want to check out, see some entertaining fights, Juan Alvarez. He's also fought some bare knuckle. Again, exciting to watch, so check him out. And that's it, folks. We were able to get through it. Again, this is the second time I did the video today. The first one, the audio didn't work, so my voice is going to be in rough shape tomorrow. But again, we have the women's video left to do, but I'm excited to say that the channel is going to change now. We're going to get into smaller prospect videos so we can, maybe 5-10 per video. That way we can pump up more videos and keep the quality high, talk about each fighter more in depth without kind of speeding through it. But we will get the women's video up in the next couple of months. One thing I will ask though, again, please, if you watch today's video, please hit the like button, please share, please subscribe. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram. It's going to help me grow the channel. It's going to promote the fighters, and it also tells me you want me to continue. So thanks a million for checking today's video, and we'll catch you all on the next one.